religions, followed by Malays and then Chinese. Significant differences among the different groups. I won't repeat myself, I think I won't belabor you, but the same pattern emerges that the rural rates higher, the Malay group rate religious harmony higher than the Chinese and the Indians. Sorry about that. And okay, this one's interesting. For the statement which read, the government helps to bring different religions together in Malaysia, only 42% of the Chinese gave high ratings, with 85% of the Malays and 70% of the Indians respectively. So the Chinese, as I said, have been pretty much pessimistic about the situation. The Easterners are most positive, perceiving religion to be unifying Malaysians together compared to their other regional counterparts. This is an opportunity for government to address religious issues resulting in pessimism amongst the Chinese. These are the statements. So all of them are sort of affirming whether or not policies have been good for national unity. Again, I'm circling the hotspots for you. The Chinese, those in the central and the south. And if you want to look at the statistics as well, the means tests do show that there are significant differences at the 95% confidence level. And I'm only reporting those which are significant. Okay. Number 4, racial harmony. Again, rural, higher, Chinese, higher. Okay, interestingly, the respondents from the eastern states of Peninsular Malaysia found it relatively more difficult to relate to those of different races. One possibility is that they, in the eastern states itself, they have less opportunity to mix with people of other races, hence find it difficult. Another interesting finding is that little red star there shows you that the older respondents prefer mixing with people of a different race compared to the younger respondents. The younger group gave a high rating to the statement, I find it difficult to relate to people of a different race compared to those of other age groups. So these are worrying indications that show the increasing racial polarization among the younger generation. These are the statements. Okay. And I'm going to show you some supporting charts. Again, the Chinese is the red mark there. The East, is, as I mentioned to you, that's a red mark. And this one, as I said, this is an interesting chart because it shows you that progressively, the younger you get, or the older you get, the older you get, the more likely you are to say that you like mixing with people of a different race. And although you might say that the figures are, just small differences, 4, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, but the point is they are statistically significant. Significantly different, such that those in the age group of the 18 to 19-year-olds are in effect mixing less with people of a different race. So this is a worrying sign. 4b, one of the supporting variables for number 4, which is racial harmony. Malays felt significantly less unfairly treated on almost all of the variables. We asked them whether they were unfairly treated based on their race, religion, gender, education level, and so on. I'll show you the questions later. 75% of Malays stated they had never before been unfairly treated on account of race, whereas 45% of Chinese and 49% of Indians said so. Again, Malays, 82% of them said they had never before been unfairly treated on account of religion, as opposed to their counterparts. Respondents from the south and central regions rated a high incidence of unfair treatment for race and religion. So this is interesting because I don't think it's a perspective that that policymakers or politicians have actually looked at how people are unfairly treated based on these elements. So you can see that, if I start from the bottom, the urban ones also say they have been unfairly treated, higher than the rural. Indians and Chinese compared to the Malays, and Central and South compared to the East and the North. This one tells you, okay, this is interesting. You can see the blue is the Indians, and this was a question, how often have you been unfairly treated on account of your race? And the option of always was chosen the highest by the Indians. Okay, followed by the Chinese, and very much slower for the Malays. And the opposite is true of the other side, never before the Malays, and the other way, yeah? So I was talking about race earlier, now religion. I have been unfairly treated due to my religion. Again, the same groups, so I won't repeat myself. And again, okay, this is where I was saying that although the Indians might have rated national unity to be quite high initially on the general sort of statement, but when you ask them specifically, have you been unfairly treated due to your religion? There was already a pretty much indicator from the ground saying that, yeah, a certain amount of Indians did say always, which is always, on a consistent level, daily basis. Okay, number 5, national unity policies. Overall, young Malaysians gave a generally positive rating, an average about 6.48 out of 10, and 6.62 out of 10 in 10 years to come. So there's a slight improvement over the next decade. Again, same patterns of the rural rating it higher and more united than those in urban cities. Malays and Indians rated national unity higher than the Chinese. Chinese, in fact, indicate that national unity will become worse. And the majority rating falling from about 6 to 5. That's quite worrying, I think. And those from the central region giving lower ratings from the rest. These are the statements, which I will not read out for you. You can read it. And a pattern again showing you the Chinese are the lowest, rural higher than the urban, Chinese lower here again. So that about sums up the 5 points that I've mentioned to you. Yeah, I talked about the 5 policy areas that the government must urgently address when you're looking at national unity in the country. Now, another part of the analysis that we did was we used a statistical sort of methodology. It's an econometric model. Basically, this model estimates the perception of national unity as a function of other variables. So how does one actually think about national unity in the country? Which are the variables in your personal experiences contribute to how you perceive national unity to be? So we tried to look at statistical, are they measurable? Can you see the direction and the magnitude of which someone's unfair treatment or someone's number of friends of other races contribute to how I see national unity in the larger perspective, in the bigger picture? We used this software. It's eViews. You can ask me about that later. We used an ordinal logic model. I think only statisticians will understand that. And the dependent variable was national unity, and the independent variables were those critical factors that contribute to the perception of national unity. Okay? This is the statistical data output, which just shows you which ones contribute and which ones are significant. Now, the ones I've highlighted in red are negative contributors to national unity in the country. And these are also highlighted here. Now, this model, forget the statistics, forget what logic means and so on. I'll just tell you what it means, what does it tend to amount to. So this is really interesting because it shows you that, look at the ones in red, yeah? The ones that are starred, national unity years from now. So why is that? And we came to the conclusion that, on a personal level, people don't have any problems, but it's when you start to think about policies, the sort of legislated policies which are out there in the 5 that I highlighted earlier, economic, education, national unity, religion, and so on. So on that level, when people start to think on a macro, systemic level, that's when they start to realize that, hey, maybe national unity in the country is not as well as what I am experiencing personally. Okay? Based on this model, we generated the numbers again, and it shows that overall slight increase in national unity from now to 10 years from now. And it shows you that all variables will predict national unity to be increasing, albeit there are some slight differences in terms of magnitude. But those that predict national unity will drop are number one, the urban